Welcome to season 3 of the Weeb Retreat podcast. We hope you enjoy your stay. We are the Weebs, your hosts. My name is James. This is Germs. Looking have a nice drip today with that showering on. Show the viewers, Germs. Show the viewers what you got today. Look at that smexy shirt that he's got on. Look at that. Sasuke. You know what it says on it? What does it say on there, Germs?
I think it's just a Sasuke.
Sasuke? Sweet, sweet, sweet. And I guess I have some anime drip. If you don't know what this is, then you shouldn't be watching us. So yes, welcome to another episode. We have a lot to talk about. How you doing today, Germs? How you doing?
Doing good. And it was a nice weekend. Some games, some anime. You know how it be. Just another good weekend.
Just another good weekend. But it's time to get back into anime watching. Let's get into the weekly roundup here. First up, we have Demon Slayer Mugen Train Arc, Episode 2. What did you think of this week's episode of Demon Slayer?
Yeah, it was basically just like, just like I remember, the beginning of the movie, just the how loud Rengoku, right?
Rengoku, yeah.
Rengoku is, oh my.
Oh my. Yep.
So just seeing, some classic moments, I feel like, it's been a little while, so it's like, okay, I'm just trying to remember some of these moments and how it all kind of went down. But now now we got into that, the dreams kind of stuff. So, but it was just, kind of basic, nothing really crazy, a little bit of action. It was, funny seeing them all kind of like, they call him big brother. You're like, let me train under you.
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
I remember that was a funny moment in the watching theaters. So I was like, okay, I remember this was pretty fun. Just a little bit of action. A little bit of a story progression going on here. So it's pretty good, But just kind of the same thing we've seen before. But that's because we saw the movie. That's kind of impossible to hide away from here. But what did you think?
Well, I believe, and of course people are pissed off at this, I believe the only new animation we got was the scene before the OP. I believe that was new, but everything after the OP was just everything from the movie. I mean, scene for scene, no new animation, no new scenes, no new nothing. So, of course, people are pissed off at that, but you knew what to expect, you know what I mean? Like you're almost getting outraged for no reason, you're being outraged for the sense of being outraged. So yeah, I mean, it's all about expectations. If you knew that this was just going to be Mugen Train, but put into anime form, put into episode form, then you really shouldn't have much to complain about here. The first episode was all new stuff, I believe, and again, I could be wrong, but I believe everything before the opening was just new stuff to kind of just, transition you into all the movie stuff. But yeah, the bulk of the episode was all movie stuff. We knew that. And honestly, it should be. Why would Ufotable reanimate the Mugen Train arc when it's beautiful?
Yeah, the pacing, putting into an episode, it was pretty good. You had, rising actors. What do you expect? It's not like you're cutting off in the middle of a scene. They kind of, molded it a little bit to better fit an episode format, which is what they're doing here. They're not hiding it.
Yeah, I mean, if you have the highest selling anime movie of all time, why would you reanimate that, right? Like, they should be giving us the movie, but just in episode form. And when it comes time to rewatching the series, or for someone that's new to the series, you now have an option. You can watch the movie version, or if you don't have time to watch a 2-hour movie, you only have time from, let's say, like you get home from work and you can only watch 2 episodes a night or something like that. Well, you can watch this route instead. You know what I mean? It's the same content. The only thing that's really new is that first episode, and you could just watch that on its own. So
yeah, and if you do miss it, if you just watch the movie, it's just extra content. It's not.
It's not required.
It's nice, but it's not required. It's like, like when the teacher's like, here's some extra reading at the end if you want to. It's like, okay, when you watch the movie and you're like, I want to see a little bit more. Like, okay, well, there's just a little tiny bit of an episode there for you.
Yeah,
it's not like they kind of split that into multiple parts. It's that one episode, and now we're in the movie time.
True, they didn't pull that bullshit where like they mix canon with filler. You know what I mean? That way you're kind of forced to watch filler like some anime do. But yeah, it's all about expectations. If you knew this going into this, then you really shouldn't, and just wait a few more weeks because after this arc we get the Red Light District, I believe it's called. So, we have 7 episodes of this season 2, whatever you want to call it, this Mugen Train arc, and then after that, all new stuff. So
Just wait a little bit.
whenever I watch a show, I always think about like rewatching it one day. Like, would I rewatch it one day? Like, who do I want to rewatch it with? Stuff like that, just dumb stuff. When it comes time, when I rewatch Demon Slayer, I don't know. I probably would prefer to watch the movie because I think it's just such a good arc to take in all at once, kind of like it's 2 hours. So if you set aside 2 hours, you can get all of it done at once. But if I don't have time for that, this is a perfectly fine alternative, right? So yeah, I mean, if you saw the movie, you don't have to watch this. If you didn't see the movie, hey, you can watch this. You didn't have to buy a ticket for the movie back then. So I don't really see how this is such an issue. I don't really see how people are saying, Ufotable's milking it. Well, yeah, of course they're milking it. They've made so much money off of Demon Slayer. Why on earth wouldn't they milk it? You know what I mean? So
yeah, it's not like it's gonna be a super long running series. It's not like it's like some kind of show where it's like the creators milking it. It's like Ufotable's like, we can get a little bit more out of this. This one arc. So obviously, we probably would have preferred, just go right after the train arc. But at least it's not. It's going to take up, so much time here.
It makes no difference because we're going to get that anyways. All you have to do is wait a few weeks. You're still going to get that. You know what I mean? So if anything, it's just making it easier for people who didn't see the Mugen Train movie that they can just watch these episodes and get caught up. And yeah, I mean, the Demon Slayer franchise has sold over 900 billion. The merchandising, just the merchandising alone, 900 billion yen. So I don't know what that is converted to US dollars, but come on, this is Demon Slayer's
divided by 100.
Divided by 100. So listen,
so billion.
So yeah, I mean, Demon Slayer is the biggest anime out right now. That's just a fact, So why wouldn't they milk it? If you consider this milking it, I don't even know if I'd consider this milking it. I think that they're just giving themselves some time to get this next season ready, right? Because the animation it's got to be top tier, that Ufotable quality. And so they just, hey, we'll chop it up into bits for people that didn't see the movie. Very hard to believe that no one saw this movie because it seems like everyone saw it. But, it's just, I don't really see how it's that big of an issue. You should have known this going into this season, But hey, that OP and that ED were fire though. What'd you think of those? I was surprised when we got those. I'm like, oh shit. Nice. We got an OP and an ED for this short little 7 episode season. What'd you think of them?
Yeah, it was nice. It's some of the scenes that I completely expected to see in the OP and ED. So yeah, it was pretty nice, pretty nicely animated. And, I guess that's new. That's some new stuff. Some new animation there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was pretty satisfied with the episode. I was, I'm not like super hyped and like, but this is the beginning of the season. You're never gonna. Well, some shows you go. I guess the first few episodes gonna get you hyped, but this is like, okay, we're back. We're back in the Demon Slayer.
Well, the first one got me hyped. Last week's got me really hyped. Just like playing the same OST, the same orchestra. I was like, it took me back to the movie. I'm like, I can't wait to experience the movie again. You know what I mean? Because whether or not, even if you've already seen the movie, it's still a good arc, at least in our opinion, it's still a good arc. So it's fun to watch. So yeah. And the OPs and the EDs, just to close out this episode, I thought they looked fantastic, dude. I mean, it's Ufotable. You're always going to get great quality animation, but even the music was great. So just a nice little touch there. Again, think about it like this. If you're going to rewatch the series and you don't have time for a 2-hour movie, you only have, you could only get an episode or 2 in. This is a perfectly fine way to watch it. You know what I mean? So we had the first episode. The next 6 are going to be Mugen Train. So, if you want to watch 3 episodes a night or, it's the same thing as pausing a movie halfway, but it's just cut up a little bit nicer. You know what I mean? So yeah, not much to say. I mean, it's a good arc. And if you haven't experienced it, this is a perfectly fine way to experience it. I think it's the same exact thing as the movie. I don't think it's I don't think any scenes are out of order or
Worse
anything
or
like
better.
that. Yeah, it's the same footage. It's the same footage, same soundtrack, same everything. The only thing I think was new was like the stuff before the OP, but that was just to kind of transition that first episode into the second episode, you know? That way if you hadn't seen the movie, it's a nice smooth ride between that, you know, little side episode we had there. So, yeah, final thoughts for this week's episode of Mugen Train.
Yeah, it's good. If you haven't seen the movie, then welcome aboard the train.
Welcome aboard the train. That's right. So, yeah, guys and gals, the weebs out there, comment down below. What did you think of this week's episode of Demon Slayer? Are you disappointed or did you expect this going into it? I think it's safe to say we kind of expected this. You know, we read up on this stuff. We knew that this was just going to be Mugen Train told all over again. So, yeah, I mean, hey, there's good parts in the arc, so I'm looking forward to reliving them again. And it's always good to freshen up before you go into a new season. You know what I mean? All the time I watch a new season of anime, and I'm like, fuck, what happened last? This is, you know, just a good little refresher. But all right, let's continue here. We got Mushoku Tensei, Jobless Reincarnation, Season 2, Episode 3. What did you think of this week's episode of Jobless, Germs?
Oh, there's some good stuff, man. Some good stuff. You know, there's just so many nice little additions to the anime that, you know, it's also, you know, I haven't reread an anime and manga in a little while, but I just love that beginning when he's just like,
Yes.
oh, you know, check out this apartment. This apartment, you know, it's got a
Rent
great
free.
view, got a nice bathroom, a nice sturdy bars here. It's
We
like,
got
oh yeah,
security.
this is a
Yeah, we got
prison.
security here.
Like that was just a nice little moment.
And you can't beat the price. It's free. You can't beat that price. That was so good. And the voice actor is really good. Like the older Rudeus, he does a good job of that. He does a really good job of that.
Yeah, and that was just like when I saw that, I'm like, oh yeah, we're back in it. We're back in the good stuff. This is the good stuff I'm watching for. Like, you know, there's a lot of good shows. There's a lot of shows. Like I read it and I'm like, okay, I just want to see how it looks in the anime. You know, like, oh, maybe let's see how they did that in the anime. It's like, oh, it's like exactly how I expected. But this is like, okay, I was already pretty hyped, and it takes it that little extra notch. You know, a little extra notch that only the anime could give me. You know.
Yep.
So I was just really happy with this episode, as well, I guess with every episode. But that's just I guess that's just how good they're doing of a job. You know, I can't really complain. You know, whenever they fuck up, we'll let you know. But they're doing a great job. I'm really loving what they're doing here, and the content was fire. What are your thoughts on this?
Oh, we're back to fangirling again. You know, because we have to. Yeah, and you know what else the anime gives you that the manga can't? Those gorgeous ass fight scenes in this episode. This episode might have the best fight scenes yet, honestly, and that's like it might be tied with that one scene with Ghislaine when she saved Rudeus that one time in season 1. This might be like tied with that, but damn, there was some really nice Sakuga in this episode. The fight scenes, and I would like, I'm a mad lad. Like I'll pause my shit, rewind it, watch it again, rewind it, watch it again, just so I get it. You know what I mean? Because everything's moving quick. I'll watch this shit frame by frame, and it's still good. It's still good. You know, I'm like, wait, was that really that good? Yep, that was beautiful. So, yeah, let's talk about. You want to get into the actual content of the episode? Basically, Rudeus is trapped by the Beast People, and shenanigans ensue. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's just all naked in his prison cell. You know, he's counting the days. You know, marking them down, and the days just keep going by and by. And you know, and then eventually, he's like, some other guy comes in. And he's like, "Hey, I'm the one that's been here first. I've been here the longest. So you got to follow my rule here."
Yeah, and he calls him. What did he call him? What did he call him? Master or like leader or something like that? Like he looked up to him. This new cellmate really looked up to Rudeus, which I thought was funny as hell.
Like, especially, you know, a naked little child, you know, just sitting. That was pretty funny. And then they're like, okay, it's time to escape. We're escaping tonight. And then it's like, wait, where's the guards? It's like, wait a second.
Yeah. And the whole place is on fire. That's the part where I rewinded and when they broke out, because it was just like so fluid, just beautiful animation. And like his little cell caught on fire and it's falling down. Like Again, it sounds so stupid when we talk about this shit, but if you're an anime fan, you know what we're talking about. Like, just everything is animated perfectly, and you don't always get that with anime. You just don't. You know what I mean? So the fact that we get everything beautifully animated, it's just such a treat. Studio Bind is doing such a good job with this series. So yeah, basically the village gets taken over.
By the smugglers, the
Hide,
kidnappers.
hide your wives, hide your kids. We got the smugglers and the kidnappers here, and Rudeus. This shows you that he's turning into a good person. He's like, you know what? I could leave this shit behind, but I won't. I'll try and stay and fight for them. And yeah, I mean, long story short. Oh, we get the dog. We get that wolf,
Dog
that big
coming.
ass dog again. Whatever. That was cool to see. But basically, long story short, he saves the day with other people as well, and the village realizes that they fucked up. So that's cool. And then he was waiting for Roxy and Ruijerd, and then they show up at the end, which is cool. So this is kind of like a one-off episode, but I'm happy with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you saw a little bit of him trying to use his newfound foresight eye, and then it didn't work out super well. He got like stabbed in the leg, whatever. But
which is good because it's not an ass pull. He's still learning, which is good. Everything about the show, so good.
Because even if you can see in the future, sometimes you can't dodge out of it, which was it's a good show in here, and then his kind of mental like holding himself back is like, I don't want to kill this, I don't want to kill people,
Yep.
He's not some heartless kind of just MC. It's like, he was a bad guy, so I killed him. But like, even Rudy's like, this is a bad guy, but like that's killing a human. I don't want to just kill a guy just because I can kill a guy. But he had to do what he had to do.
Yeah, and like I said, the action was phenomenal. I wish that there was kind of a connection between the Beast people and like just Lane. Like maybe Rudy could have realized that, or like, oh, that's kind of like what they did with Roxy when he visited her town. But that's not, that's just me. That's just me.
That'd be a little bit too coincidental. It'd be like
probably.
Yeah.
Probably
more than one tribe of beast people, but but it's nice. I like how they built up the town as well. Well, in the OP.
Yes.
When they're playing.
Was that a different song, by the way? Was that a new song this week? Or was that the same old song?
It felt like the OP. It might.
Did it?
It was good. It was nice music. So it's kind of
whatever it was. It's beautiful. I really like how they do the openings in the show, and even the ending is fantastic too. I think that like this was kind of a one-off, right? But it had to be, because if you kind of drag this into next week, it would have felt a little bit like you're dragging it out too much. So it felt fast-paced, but not so much fast-paced that it's like it's too fast and it feels off. Like the pacing is still fine. Everything is still fine with the show. Beautiful. And then obviously we have to talk about. I don't remember if it was after the ED or right before or whatever.
It was after the last.
Go ahead, talk about it. Because I was like, oh shit, they're gonna. Yeah. And they did it. They actually did it. They committed to it. So talk about it.
Yeah. So we flash back to not flash. Oh, just we move away from the beast, the demon world. Now we go back to the town where we started on, and we see the Gramps. He's in trial. They're all like, oh, you failed to help from this mana crisis that happened when everyone teleported, so you're gonna to get executed and lop off his head.
Gonzo.
He's like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I like when shows get ballsy like that, because you know how like a lot of shows are afraid to kill off characters. When a show can kill off characters, it just shows me like it's good storytelling. You know what I mean? Like if we're to take this world as it is, yeah, that could likely happen. You know what I mean? Like having an asshole
to take responsibility for this.
Exactly, and he's the leader, right? So he has to take responsibility. This transported a lot of people and fucked up a lot of stuff, right? So having an ass pull where someone comes in and saves him at the end of the day, or you know what I mean, like all the typical tropes we see, those are fine. But again, it's just good storytelling here. This show isn't afraid to kill off characters when it serves the story, and that serves the story. You know what I mean? So the fact that they actually did execute him. And we didn't really see it, but I assume just from talking to you that like that actually did happen.
Well, you see his head.
You see it in a distance. Yeah, but they're like kind of covered in shadow. So I didn't know, but I assumed that he died, right? So the fact that they were able to commit to that is good. Good storytelling. They're not afraid to kill off characters when they have to, and it's Mushoku Tensei, man.
And not needlessly. Those are, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, it serves the story. It serves the story, and it also builds tension.
If I were just killing people just left and right, it's like, oh, well, that's kind of that's fucked up just to do it, for whatever,
no reason. Yeah, and it serves the story because it builds tension back home. So when they ever do make it back home, or it just builds another layer. You know what I mean? It seems since they teleported and transported that everything back home is kind of, no longer relevant, but they're tying it back in, which is what a good story would do. That's what a good story would do. So, yeah. Final thoughts for this week's episode of Jobless, Germs.
Fire. 10 out of 10 as always. We do fanboy over this show all the time, but that's just because the episodes are good. If something was wrong, we would let you know. We would let you know, but nothing. There's nothing that's really like come out to us and like, that's weird. Like the animation looked weird there. It's like, no, they've been doing a bang up job. I can't really complain what they've been giving us and how they're treating the story with respect. They're not just skipping over arcs. They're not just not showing random scenes. They're kind of they're expanding on characters that were kind of like in the side a little bit. And it's like, oh, we're kind of getting to know everyone. They're not just being like, oh, it's that person, oh, this is that person, oh, next episode, oh, here's 5 more people. It's like, oh, I haven't those people before. It's like, oh, don't worry about them. This show just kind of builds up each character.
Well, it's good pacing. It's good pacing. Yeah. It's good pacing, like I said. This one felt fast, but again, they had to do it for one episode. It makes sense. It's kind of like Rudy's adventure being trapped by the beast people. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, this is just our opinion, but I assume that you would agree with this. But if you have any complaints with this adaptation, you're probably just being picky. Like, the animation is A1. The voice actors are great. The music is great. The pacing is fine. I mean, I don't really have any complaints with this yet. I mean, where are the complaints with this show? And not everyone's watching it. A lot of people got turned off by the first season because of, let's just say, Rudeus's personality, right? And he is kind of a scumbag, right? We understand that, but that's part of the story. That's part of his character. But yeah, I mean, I don't really think we have any complaints at this point. I think it's been a solid journey so far, and it's doing everything you could have ever asked it to do, this adaptation. So, guys and gals, the weebs out there, for those of you who are watching Mushoku Tensei, please comment down below what you think of this week's episode and this adaptation as a whole. We're really enjoying it so much. So, yeah, let's continue here with the roundup. We got some more spice here. We got My Senpai is Annoying, episode 2. Take it away, Germs. Take it away. What did you think of the second episode?
Oh, man. Beautiful stuff, man. Oh, beautiful, man. I was like, okay, maybe, the first episode was fire, but can they do it again? Can lightning strike twice?
Can they keep it up?
And I just fell in love with it, man. I'm falling in love with this, man. It just feels so good. The story is so nice. The characters are fire. There's nice amount. They keep it nice and simple with the characters. They don't have 20 people, 10 people.
Yes.
It's just like the main 4. Then maybe we add a new one this week. I love
that. I love series with small casts. I think there's way too many anime out there that build up especially shonen, where they have a big ass cast and they don't really utilize them perfectly. But I'll tell you what, when the episode first came on, you know what I loved immediately? They didn't what happened at the end of the first episode, they didn't forget about it. It continued into this episode. Right into it. They went straight into it. It's not like just some little, scene that, was fan service and doesn't really count. No, that actually happened, and they have to live with the ramifications of Igarashi saying that to her senpai. You know what I mean? She feels embarrassed. He remembers it. You know what I mean? So I just like that they didn't drop that. I feel like a lot of anime would probably drop something like that, but nah, perfect. Smooth sailing, perfect way to start off this week's episode. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree. I feel like 50% of other shows would have totally written off. The other, like 49%, would have been like, "Oh, I didn't hear you." Oh,
Oh, that is such an anime thing. That's a real anime thing to do. Like, oh, I didn't hear you. Yeah.
Yeah. Then we have the third side. We have that. We flip a coin.
That 1% that addresses it.
And that's what happened in this episode. And that was when I started, like, when I saw that, I'm like, okay, we're getting some good stuff here, you know. That spice that happened at the end, it wasn't just there just to be there, you know.
Exactly.
We're continuing off of that.
It wasn't cheap. It was actually meant to be there. And it kind of continued this episode because remember her girlfriend was like, oh, is there someone that you're thinking about a lot? Is there someone at work that you like at work? So it's not a subject that they just kind of like toyed with the fans. Like that's really part of the story. And I appreciate that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And then when she's talking to, I wrote their names. It was Sakurai.
Yeah, Sakurai.
The aura energy. She was all like, you know, so how do I get him big? You know, how it's just like, I can't really help you with there, you know. And she's like, oh, the haves and the have-nots, and I was like, oh, this is
you'll never understand.
And I thought that was a hilarious moment. But I have one picture I wanted to show you because I was so hilarious.
Shit, we have different pictures then. But go ahead, send me the picture. We have different pictures.
Yeah, because I was like, I saw this and I'm like, oh, this is too hilarious not to see.
Oops, and of course, we'll show the viewers. So make a timestamp, Germs, because the people at home need to see whatever we're talking about. Oh, dude, that would have been like my second choice. I literally have that in my notes to talk about. I swear. I'll give you a screenshot of my notes because I swear that was the first note I ever wrote about this episode. Because occasionally I'll pause an episode. I like to do it at the end and write all my notes. But occasionally I'll pause it and be like, no, I have to talk about that. I swear I wrote this as my first note.
It's so hilarious.
What beautiful symbolism we have here. Beautiful symbolism. Beautiful. I saw that and I laughed out loud. I'm like, that's good. That's good stuff right there.
Yeah, I did the same as well. You know, when I'm laughing, I'm like, okay, I gotta pause quick. You know, I can't hear I don't understand Japanese, so I gotta pause it. But oh yeah, that was so hilarious. And there's so many moments in this show where it feels like I gotta pause real quick to laugh or, you know, or process this. But that was just a fun part. And then we get to that next part of it when she buys she goes to
pillows
with her
pillows.
friend. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And she goes for
the friend is Natsumi. So this is like a new character that I don't think we've met yet. We first get introduced to her. A guy is kind of hitting on her, and she has like big tits, of course, right? Because that would fit the story. And she just kind of kicks him, and then so go on. So they buy the pillows or whatever.
Yeah, they go to buy a pillow. Like they go to like she's like, you know, there's all the cute stuff, and it's like at the department store, and she's like, the friend's like, oh, it's such kiddish stuff. But then, you know, then Igarashi is like, I kind of want it though.
I'm trying this shit on.
and then she's like, wait a second, I can use these for not just for hand warmers. I could use these for to stuff myself a little bit. And then she like stays it throughout the whole day. But my favorite, I fucking laughed so hard when she gets on the train because her friend's like, oh, just, you know, keep it on rest of the time. It's on the train,
and you know it's Senpai because of his voice. That's what I like too. Like, it didn't show his face. As the audience, we know that voice. We're like, oh shit, he's getting on the train too, isn't he?
Yeah, and then Kazuma's on there as well. And, you know, obviously she's short, she can't really grab onto stuff, so she kind of bumps into him. And she's like, oh, there you are. And then Kazuma's just like, he's like pointing at her. He's like, you seen this? And the senpai obviously doesn't point it out.
I don't think he pointed, but very subtly. They did it subtly. He kept looking back, and I thought that was good. That was genius. No,
I'm pretty sure he points at some point.
Oh, did he point? Oh,
yeah. Okay. It was so hilarious. Like, just like he didn't need to say a single word, but just the like him just sort of like that was just so hilarious.
Yep.
And then you after, you go.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and then she gets home and she's all like, oh, you know, he doesn't see me as a woman.
You skipped something. They get off the train and they have that little pervert that Senpai takes out. Remember? Yeah. So that was actually important to sort of progress their relationship because he may not look at her romantically yet, but he does care for her. And so Igarashi at least appreciates that. And, you know, it kind of goes to show you that, you know, at this point in their relationship, he really does care for her. So that's a positive for Igarashi, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, and then she gets home and she just calls up her grandpa. And dude, this man, dude, if I'm gonna be a grandpa one day, man, I want to be looking like him, man. He was just all buff. He was just cooking, just like,
Yep.
wait, my granddaughter's calling me. What's wrong? No, I just love that.
I loved when he was thinking, and he's like, like that's a weird question, but I have to answer it because I have to be a good grandfather right now. You know what I mean? Most people would be like, "What the? Are you okay? Like, this is weird. I feel awkward." He's like, "No, I have to give her a good answer." Then the battery cuts off. She can't even get a good answer from him. So that was funny. And then yeah, one other thing to talk about with this week's episode is Sakurai and what's his name?
Kazuma.
Kazuma. Yeah, now we got a little side romance brewing here, which is perfect because the spice between the main characters are fine, but now we got something else to chew on here. You know what I mean? Like we like the steak. The steak is great. Now we got some nice mashed potatoes to chew on. We got some nice vegetables or whatever the hell, mac and cheese. We got some. Now we can be double dipping.
The full meal here.
Mean? Exactly. Now we're getting the full package here, and yeah, that's a little brewing romance for us. What'd you think of that at the end there?
Oh, that was so good. Dude, I watched that back a few times, man. That was just too good. That was too good. You know, this episode I went back so many times. Like I think it's the first time in a while where I kept just going back. I'm like, I gotta see that again. I gotta see that again.
That's what I do with Mushoku Tensei, but for the Sakuga. But now you're doing this for the romance, which is a testament. You know what I mean? If a show is so good that you rewind it as a viewer, that like it's doing its job. You know what I mean? Like you want to experience it again. I had that with Nagatoro. Like I forget which scene it was, but there was one scene, obviously a romantic scene, where I'm like, good. I got to go back, and I rewinded the full scene. I just rewatched it again. You know what I mean? So if you can get a viewer to rewind, you're doing something right. You know what I mean? Because most people don't rewind. Most people don't care. But that goes to show you the level of shows that we're watching, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is a fire lineup we got here. I was just really happy to see those little moments. And it felt completely natural and nice. You know, she was getting hit on by some random dude. And he's like, he's out there like in the hallway, just like ring. He's like, oh, you have a call. He's like, oh, miss number.
And she knew that, and she felt flattered by that. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think the takeaway for this episode for me is I'm starting to fall in love with the characters, and that's what the show is supposed to be doing right now, and it's doing it perfectly. We're only 2 episodes in, and what this show has accomplished in 2 episodes might have taken a typical anime maybe like a full season to do. You know what I mean? Like at the end of 12, you're like, okay, like I'm really digging this lineup. I'm already digging this lineup and we're only 2 in. You know what I mean? I not only care for the main relationship, but now I care for the side relationship. And we're only 2 episodes in. You know what I mean? Like typically I wouldn't really I'm warming up to these characters, but they've done such a good job of introducing them that I already feel like I'm familiar with them. I already care about them. You know what I mean? That's a big job of a storyteller is to get someone to care for your story, care for the characters. And once someone cares for what the story that you're presenting them, then, you know, now is the easy work. Now you just got to tell a good story. You know what I mean? But you have to hook someone initially. You have to get them to care. And we're only 2 episodes in, and not to overhype this thing, not to go crazy here, but you know, knock on wood, I think this will be a good season, and I already care for the characters, you know, and we're only 2 episodes in, and that really says a lot about the show so far. So, yeah, good stuff, man. Final thoughts for this week's episode of My Senpai is Annoying.
Fire, you know, if you haven't started the show, watch that first episode, and then you'll know if you want to continue this right here. But if you're watching, man, let us know. You know, between the 2 couples, who do you liking the most? You know, I'm liking both of them so much. You know, and the characters. I wonder, you know, if Gramps is going to come in eventually back in. He's going to be like, you know, it's going to be Chad versus, you know, the Senpai Chad. It's going to be like a little standoff there. He's like, oh, this is the guy you're talking about, you know, or something like that. I feel like those kind of moments are going to be like fun and nice to watch, you know, and I feel like there's going to be development during those. It's not just like, you know, even if they do these one-off like random moments, I feel like there's gonna be something coming out of it, you know.
Yeah. So far they've done a good job with it, and we're really caring for the characters so far. They're doing a good job of that. for me, it's not even about which relationship you like more because I like them both. I want to know at the end of 12, because this is slated for like 11 or 12, right? At the end
Yeah.
of this season, are they going to get together or what's up with that? Because again, we speculated last week. Okay, like there's only a hint of romance, but this week we got a little bit more of a hint. You know what I mean? Like her friend is asking about the senpai. She's blushing around the senpai. Remember, he asked her like, or a coworker asked him if they could go grab lunch or something like that, and then she wanted to join in, but then the coworker was like, "Oh, you know what? I have something."
I think it was the boss,
Yeah, the boss,
supervisor, or whatever.
So the supervisor or whatever, he saw himself out, right? So again, this week we have a little bit more than just a hint. Like they're kind of they're poking at it a little bit more than usual. So maybe it won't take a whole season for us to get something going here. If we're already seeing this 2 episodes in, maybe it's going to be like this the whole ride. We don't know. So I'm very happy that we have this on the roundup. And yeah, comment down below if you guys are enjoying the series like we are. We're really enjoying it so far. So, all right, let's move on here to Komi Can't Communicate, episode 2. What did you think, Germs?
Oh, beautiful stuff, man! Beautiful stuff. The animation and dude, I just keep rewatching that OP, man. That OP is just fire. That OP is just fire. Like the visuals are like really. It's just really resonated for me. It just looks so beautiful. It feels like I'm looking at art. But that's just the OP. That was last week. But it's just great stuff. You know, we got Najima introduced that enigma of a character. You know, they don't know, we don't know, male, female.
We don't know. Nobody knows.
They're Nijima. They're Nijima. You know, that's all. Yeah.
Only God knows. Nobody else knows who or why this person is there, but they're there.
They're
you know
Nijima.
what I mean? Yeah. Osana Najimi, or whatever.
Najima. Yeah.
Whatever. A fun character though. That's a fun character. So first off, I want to say at the top here, such an artistic show. And we had a commenter on, I believe it was like last week's episode or whatever. They said that the director, like, because I talked about how the first episode felt out of order. And they said, well, the director is, very artistic and all that. And yeah, I can totally see it. I mean, when you watch this show, this is a very artistic show. And I like that. I like when shows have their own style. I mean, there's parts where you have black bars, white bars. When Komi is walking,
watercolors.
Watercolors. When Komi is walking with Najima after school, there's 2 different perspectives, right? You see it from Najima's perspective first, and then you see it from the MC's perspective. It didn't really change much, but just all the sorts of
extra little angles and
just
views.
all these angles in sort of animation crafting that we have here, just different ways to present the anime to us. I think it's really a treat, man. It's really a treat. Like, I watch this show and I'm like, this is an artistic specimen that we're watching in front of our eyes. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it's the best show ever. I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just saying what they're presenting is beautifully packaged and it's interesting. Like, most anime are not going to look and feel like this one does. And I really appreciate that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they could have given it, the basic, anime 101 treatment and, just basic, shots, from away. That's it. That's they could have done that and people probably would still have, given their praises.
People would have been fine with it. Yeah.
But this goes that extra step and like it really enhances some of those like views. And it's like, oh, okay, and that's not getting the same, same view over here. I'm like seeing it from their perspective, the colors changed a bit in this, Komi's thinking about that, you kind of feel how Komi is feeling in the moment,
Yeah.
It's just good stuff, and let's talk about the content of the episode. What'd you think about the actual content?
Well, the content was the Najimi episode, right? So it's all about Komi's second friend, and I thought it was really good. I think I still don't know how this show is going to go. You kind of know, I don't know, so don't say anything to me. But I don't know if it's going to be I don't know if it's going to be new friend of the week or if we're gonna get some real development and kind of build maybe like an inner circle. I don't know, but I think that this was a perfect choice for the second episode story wise, and Yeah, there was kind of like two halves. There was kind of like the first half of like them getting acquainted and the MC kind of getting them to be friends, which kind of ends with them walking home. And I got the picture for you. Let me send you. So this is the picture that I was thinking of. Let me find it here. And of course, we'll show the viewers this. But
Yeah.
I had to pause on this one. I thought that this was the funniest moment in the throughout this whole week. I thought this shit was so funny. So basically, this big ass dude comes after Najimi and he's like, I think he's like in love with her or him. I don't
Yeah.
know, but he's professing his love, and Komi picks up his key, and Komi she starts uttering something, but she doesn't really form words yet, right? So he thinks that she's saying die. And so he's like imagining this killer face of hers, like just the different facial expressions that they give Komi is like perfect because when the scene is happening, Komi's voice is all deep, like it's like a manly, scary voice. I thought that shit was so funny, dude. I think that this show is really like a comedy. Like I think the comedy is probably like the biggest aspect of the show so far because the first episode was very comedic. This episode was very comedic. So if you're looking for a cute comedy, I think that this is probably the one this season to be looking at. So that's
Mhm.
kind of the vibe of the show, it seems like. So that's the first half. I thought it was good. Anything to say about like that first half that you want to
Now, there was
add?
one thing before that, before all that, before we even met Najima, was the cool girl. When he was trying to talk to the cool girl, was like, oh, can you talk to Komi? And she's all like, what'd you just say to me?
Okay. At the beginning of the episode. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Again, because it's just like the vibe of the show I got. You know what I mean? Like it's all jokes so far. I'm not saying it'll never be serious, but for right now, we're pretty much watching a comedy here. So
Hmm.
yeah, again, they put that right at the beginning of the episode to kind of, get you used to the tone. Then the second half is basically the Starbucks half. I think they call it stand something. I don't remember what they call it, but
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
basically a Starbucks ripoff. And Komi has to go get Najimi's drink. And it was hilarious. You want to talk about it? You want to take it from here? I thought it was so funny, dude.
Yeah, because Najima was all like,
She
hey,
is
can you
very
get...
specific. You got to get me this and extra whipped cream and chocolate chip and all this shit, right?
Yeah, and then MC is all like, "Oh, why you doing this to Comey?" She's like, "Well, I got three other friends to go on lunches with, you know." So like,
Yeah,
and then
and so
Comey's
Comey
yeah,
goes to get it, and what's funny is like it was basically blackmail. It's like if you can't do this for me, you won't be my friend. And Comey immediately stands up. Like again, just the animation. I can't talk about the content of this episode without talking about the artistic direction. Like when Comey stands up, there's like puff clouds, and like there's like Japanese kanji all throughout the episode. Like it's just beautiful to watch. You know what I mean? Just funny, and it's
hmm
funny too, right? It's so over the top. It's so anime, right? So she goes to get his drink, and she can't say it, right? So she can't say anything. The
it's not a
what do you call it?
menu.
The barista gives her a menu, and she can't find it. But MC's behind her, tucked away, watching this all unfold. He's like, "No, it's right there. It's right at the corner. You're missing it." And so she can't find it. And he's like, "You know what? It's basically what happened with the teacher. Remember the last episode with the teacher? He's like, you know what? Instead of having to read it out loud, you're right, Comey. Let's all read it in silence." So basically, this is like version 2 of that, where the barista's like, you know what? I know exactly what to get you. You're gonna like it so much. You're gonna put it on Twitter. So he goes and makes this concoction of a drink. And one thing I like that the show does, which is kind of like a running gag at this point, um, when a character has a lot to say, they'll speed it up, right? Like they'll speed up the lips and the
Yeah,
syncing of the words. Again, just all these little artistic touches, man, right? So he makes this like concoction of a drink that has like tons and tons of
everything.
stuff in it. So yeah, so that's funny. Comey goes back, and before Comey even walked in, she kind of walked in, went out, walked in, went out. So we're in for it's going to be a long time before Comey like gets some confidence here. I assume, you know what I mean? Like it's going to be a
Mm.
slow burn. It's going to be a slow burn, but when she does uh break out of her shell, that'll be probably like a really beautiful thing to see. So yeah, she goes back and brings the drink, and yeah, just that whole second half I thought was really funny, and good way to end out this episode.
Hmm. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was nice feeling. You know, I'm just really happy. Seeing the moments of Komi trying to talk, it always just so hilarious. It's like the murmuring, the JoJo like shaking of like
Mm-hmm.
doom. Just trying to
Mm-hmm.
talk. It's always the nice little touches they add are just really help enhance. Nothing can really you can't enhance. You can only polish a turd so much, but this is good content. And then they take it that content just that extra little step that a lot of shows probably wouldn't, because they're like, oh, imagine some other studios would have been like, oh, there's already great content, there's already a big following, we'll just do the classic treatment, we'll get the money, we'll be out. But this is like, they love the show. I imagine, just the feeling I'm getting here is that they're loving what they're doing. They're putting that extra little step, putting that extra little touch with the voice acting and everything. It's just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah, well, I think OLM's got that Pokemon money coming in, so they probably have a ton of budget to spend on this. And like I said, shout out to that commenter who left a comment on last week's episode. Yeah, I think the director probably has a lot to do with the artistic direction of this show. So he's doing a great job with just all the different angles, all the different little touches they're putting on it. As an anime fan, as weebs, we just appreciate all the little stuff that adds up and makes it count. And then, so yeah, we got to see the ED this week, which was cool. Any thoughts on it? I thought it was nice as well.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice.
Yep.
Nothing crazy to talk about that.
Yeah. So, but really, that OP is fire. That OP is really where it's at. So, yeah. Final thoughts for this week's episode of Komi.
Yeah, really happy with what they're doing with the series, and can't wait to see some more. I wonder where it's going to end, because it's been so long for me since I've read it.
Yeah.
So I have no idea where it's going to end off, but I know it's going to end off in a good spot. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah, we don't know if it's going to be one core or two. I assume probably one, maybe like a 12 episode, but we don't know. We don't know. So we're here for the ride. Comment down below if you guys are watching Komi-san. Let us know. We're really enjoying it, and we assume you are too. A lot of people, I think a lot of people are watching Komi this season. I think a lot of people are, really, really hyped up about the show. So now we get to the difficult part of the show. Now we have to discuss the winner of the week. Always, I like to narrow our options down. I assume Demon Slayer probably doesn't make it for either of us. I think that's a fair assumption, and that's nothing to do with Demon Slayer's fault. If we saw that episode for the first time, I actually think it might win. The only problem is this is a personal choice, right? This isn't like us trying to be objective. Like, what's the best episode? It's not like that. It's sort of like, which episode do we personally enjoy the most? And because we've already seen the Demon Slayer content, it's probably not going to win for the next 5 weeks because we've just seen it before. You know what I mean? Not to say that they're not fire episodes, but personally, we've just already experienced it. So that brings us to Jobless, Senpai, and Komi. Anything that you can eliminate from those three. I mean, they're all pretty damn good, dude. They're all pretty damn good episodes.
Yeah, it's so whatever we do eliminate, it's not because it wasn't fire. These were all pretty fire.
All fire. We got a great roundup this season.
Probably. I don't even remember who I picked last time. I think I picked Senpai last week, but I think that's. But
I think you did.
But it doesn't matter what I picked last week because we're on the new stuff. Jobless was pretty good. I love all these shows have that little moments where it's like, oh, that was beautiful. Senpai had maybe rewind a bit. Komi has the beautiful colors, and it just it's like, how do I even pick? This isn't. How do you pick?
How do you pick? Yeah,
well, I don't want to. You go first. You go first.
You go first. Okay, I'll go first. So if I have to eliminate one, I'm going to eliminate Mushoku Tensei. And again, it's a personal reason. I know I expect fire from Mushoku Tensei. These other two, which are new on the roundup, I don't know if I'm going to like them as much, right? So those are more impressive to me because we know that Jobless is going to be fire every week, right?
Mm-hmm.
So unfortunately, I let Mushoku Tensei go for this week. So now it's down to Komi, and my Senpai is annoying. How do you pick between those two? I mean, both of those episode 2s, I would say, did everything that they're supposed to do, right? Komi sort of lets you know the direction of the show. We have a new friend. you kind of get the vibe that, okay, this is probably going to be comedic. You get to see more Komi moments. That's what you want. That's what you came to see. That's what you paid admission for. You want to see Komi. Komi's the star of the show. And then with Senpai, not only are we continuing to address the main relationship, but now we got a little side relationship brewing. So I'm gonna go with my Senpai is annoying for this week as my personal winner of the week. It's like neck and neck with Komi, but the reason I'm gonna go with my Senpai is annoying is because this week I fell in love with the characters. That's not to say I'm not in love with the characters of Komi yet, but I feel like I'm pretty much sold on Senpai. Now I just want to get more sold on Komi, and but Senpai did a great job with just adding that spice, adding that spice. So I'm gonna go with Senpai this week. Who are you going with, Germs? Who are you going with?
Oh, yeah. Just the more and more I think about it, the more and more I'm just falling. Senpai back at it again for me. This is my I think it's twice in a row. Again. But like, because the more I think about it, it's like, oh, that beginning was fire. The next scene after that was fire. It's like, oh wait, there was that scene in between there too. That was also. It's like the more it's like an onion egg. The more I keep going in, it's like, oh, it just keeps more and more good stuff.
The layers, yes. So yeah, all right, Senpai. We keep agreeing. We gotta stop agreeing on this show so much. We need to get views here. We need to be controversial. So yeah, Senpai is gonna win for both of us. I think. I just think it took the show to the next level, man. I just do. I like that the undertones of the romance are not being lost on us. They're continuing them. You know what I mean? So that's it. What is your guys' winner of the week? It doesn't have to be from our roundup. Just any episode of anime that you watch this week. Probably airing this season. Which there's other shows out there. We got Platinum Man, we got 86. I mean, all sorts of ones that maybe is your winner of the week. Let us know if we missed something here. So yeah, it's going to be Senpai for us. All right, that concludes our weekly roundup and weekly winner. So now we have something interesting for you guys here, because last season we didn't leave off exactly where we wanted to leave off. You guys didn't get to see exactly what we thought of certain shows from last season. We're not going to review every show from last season, but what we have planned for you guys, we have 2 reviews for you guys this week. We have a review of My Hero Academia's 5th season and the 1st season of Tokyo Revengers. Ever since we launched this podcast, we've talked about those shows nonstop, right? This is the first season that we don't have Boku no Hero or Tokyo Revengers, which is weird. Feels weird because we talked about them for so long, but here we are. So we have two reviews for you guys that we previously recorded, and next week we plan to have a review of Kobayashi for you guys. So so we're gonna cut those in right here. So here is our first. We're gonna do Boku no Hero. Then after that, we're gonna go straight into Revengers, and then we will see you guys after those are done. So see you after those reviews. Enjoy. But let's talk about Boku no Hero's 5th season. And Germs, why don't you give us your initial thoughts on My Hero Academia's 5th season, finally wrapped up. This is our first time talking on the channel without talking about My Hero Academia. We're finally saying goodbye to this 5th season.
And I'm happy to, because honestly, I think this was the worst season so far.
Okay, yeah, let's just get that out of the way. We both agree on that. Out of the 5 seasons we've got, this is easily the worst season there is. I think we both we got to say that from the top, right?
Yeah. So we'll just jump right into it and go through each of the arcs and see why we didn't like the whole overall season. But that first part, the first arc of 1A versus 1B, too long. Cut it in half. How many episodes? 11 episodes. I think it was maybe a little bit less. Make it 6. If it was 6, make it 3. It was too long. It should have been done real quick, and then or just make those episodes about Midoriya and everything. We don't need all these side characters are nice and all, but there's too many of them. There's like 40 people. That's too many characters to worry about. So they just spent too much time.
Real quick, before we move on here, we got to get to the bottom of this. We got to be the detectives here, okay? You read the manga. Was this Bones doing typical Bones stuff where they're just stretching it to fill the season? or was it this long in the manga where this arc was also dragged out in the manga as well?
They slightly extended it here, but it was still too long in the manga. Like the story wise,
Okay.
this is Boku no Hero's story, and in the anime manga, it's all basically the same. They done a good adaptation, I guess. You know, they haven't skipped any.
We'll get to that. There's some stuff there at the end that I actually really want to dispute that, and I'm not a manga reader. I'm just going off of what I hear from the people. But yeah. So just to close out this, I hated this arc. I'm so sick and tired of seeing training arcs with Boku no Hero. We're over 100 episodes now. I don't want to see them training anymore. I'm done with that. They either need to be doing internships or becoming full-fledged heroes or going to college. Who knows what they're doing? I'm done with the whole training. I'm done with them fighting amongst themselves or fighting amongst 1B, or I don't want to see any of it anymore. Introduce more villains. Fight the current villains. I don't care what you do. I'm so sick and tired of training arcs. That's where I'm at. Are you there too?
Yeah. I mean, Boku no just keeps doing it over and over and over again. It's like half the season's got to be training, the other half has got to be something else.
Yeah, and I've said that a million times. If you want to have like a small training arc where Midoriya learns something, like if you want to have like a Naruto learning the Rasengan moment or something like that, that'd be cool. But having a school activity where the class is going to undergo a training arc or undergo a provisional exam or undergo whatever, I don't want to see any of that
anymore.
School festival. I'm done with that. I'm done with that. We've had 100 episodes. It's I know it's called My Hero Academia. They could, of course, you could still have a lot of moments at school, but it's time for them to really start becoming heroes.
Maybe some romance.
So I hated that shit. Maybe some romance.
Characters talking to each other like normal people. Like,
I don't know, man. And there was a filler like at the end of that. Wasn't there like one or two that were like straight up filler? Like just shitty. Yeah. So we still got actual filler on top of what felt like filler. Remember that?
Mm-hmm. So yeah.
All right, so that's that arc.
Yeah. Then next was the internship with Endeavor. So that's a little bit of spice there, you know. Training, but we're actually going against villains. We're actually, then there's all the family drama stuff, and then so like you got a little bit of taste there, and then it went back to the kind of drama stuff that it's a shonen here. We want to see some action, see some cool powers and all that, and villains and all that stuff.
Yeah, I was hyped for that arc, but I'll be honest with you, I feel like they kind of squashed that arc. I feel like they kind of failed at it. I think, listen, I like that is what I wanted, right? What I want is for them to start like undergoing real hero type of shit, right? So them going to train with Endeavor, perfect. That's exactly what I was asking for. But did they do it right? I don't know. They would just fly around the city and see random people, and then you have Todoroki's family drama, which I don't know. Did that work for you? I didn't think it was bad, but it didn't sell me. Like I wasn't like, oh, this is some juicy, spicy stuff right here. It just kind of happened. What changed? Endeavor kind of feels bad for being an absentee father. There's friction in the house, and has anything changed?
That's Todoroki's family. We barely even we haven't talked to Todoroki in forever.
True.
When's the last time you heard him talk to someone other than just be like, oh, thank you?
Yeah. How does Todoroki feel about this? That's the main character this should be affecting because he's like more of a main character than the family. So, has anything changed with this family? Have we learned anything? Have we gained any new insight? Have we moved the goalpost?
Endeavor, but not Todoroki.
Even Endeavor, dude, like it's so like we knew he was feeling guilty for a long time, so it's Boku no Hero. You're not gonna get much movement, right? It just feels so static. So yeah, what'd you think about this arc, the Endeavor agency arc?
Yeah, I think it had like a little bit interesting spice, a little bit different than before, but that was just Endeavor. What did Todoroki think about it? What did his brother? What did his sister? Like, like little slight little moments there, but like what were they actually thinking? You just heard whatever you just heard.
Yeah. And I feel like them just jumping from building to building and, oh, let's stop this robber. And, oh, let's stop that robber. Like, it just felt so stupid. Like, like, I wish that there was a key. Again, if you wanted to do like good storytelling, you would have like a real arc where like they start interning with him. They feel like nervous about it. And then the first day they get a call, and maybe they screw up, and then
Someone
the next day they
dies.
get a call.
Something actually happens.
Like something actually happens with Boku no Hero. Then the next day they learn a little bit, and then the next day they go on a call, and maybe this time Endeavor is busy, so they have to step up. And after the 2 previous days, they have to actually work without him and actually stop a criminal activity, right? So. And then maybe like, oh, look at that. Endeavor's finally proud of them after being disappointed for 2 days. And then, you know what I mean? Like, this could have been a real arc where they kind of all bond together. Endeavor could be, the new All Might to Midoriya, right? Where Midoriya, if you wanted to have it where Midoriya is kind of lacking that father figure, bam, here's Endeavor who, he has this burden on his shoulders of being the number 1 hero now, but now he's stepping up and he's taking it seriously, and he's taking it seriously with his son, and he's taking it seriously with these other 2 his other 2 classmates, right? You could have done a real arc here, and it just feels like nothing happened, And then you have the Hawks side plot, which honestly I found fascinating. But again, I got to ask the question, right? Did we learn anything? Did the goalpost get moved? Is there anything actually moving the plot here? Okay, so Hawks is working behind the scenes with the League of Villains, right? And I mean, we got a little bit of stuff.
Yeah.
I got to give them credit, right? They had the Meta Liberation Army's book. Hawks handed it to Endeavor. Endeavor kind of looked at it. I don't remember if he deciphered it or not. It's not really that important, or at least they didn't make it seem that important as of right now. But again, we end the season and Hawks is still kind of working with them, but still a good guy. Has anything changed? Did any dramatic plot point happen where his identity gave up and some conflict happened? Or, you could even like have thriller moments where like maybe he almost gave up his identity, or maybe the villains are almost catching on to him. But no, that would be good storytelling, and that's not really what we got this season. So yeah, we have an interesting side plot, which is interesting.
That's all
but
it is.
It goes nowhere. It goes nowhere. So yeah. What do you think about the arc before we move on?
Yeah. I can see what you're talking about. Like the biggest stuff was just learning that Endeavor felt bad. And he wants his family to be happy even if it's without him, whatever. And then there's just there's some mystery, some stuff that's like, oh, what happened to he was praying, he was into his dead son, whatever. It's like, what the fuck? Todoroki had a brother that's dead, whatever. But like,
yeah, and he was having the dreams too. Like they had, like I said, they had a lot of ingredients to make it interesting, and it was, but they're not executing on it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. They kind of just like threw it all in. It's like, oh, this will work. Bacon's delicious. I'll throw that in. Oh, everyone loves, ice cream. Throw that ice cream in there too. It's like, wait a second, was this mixed together? Nah, it doesn't matter.
No,
it
not at all.
Doesn't matter.
Hey, people like it, so just eat it. It doesn't matter if it's a full meal, if the tastes blend well together. Just fucking eat them, okay? Eat what we give you. Eat what we give you.
The classic Weeb retreat food analogy. You know how it be.
I know. We have to. All right, so next, what's next? You know what? We had a one-off episode, right? Was that before the villain stuff?
Yeah, it was before.
With is that next?
Yeah, that was next. It was like nothing. I think it was like it went to the beach.
No.
Yeah, there was that. With all the girls.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that was like a complete filler episode, right? But the Nomu episode where Aizawa and
that was a good shit. Racerhead or whatever.
Eraserhead and Aizawa, or Eraserhead and Mike Head, whatever.
Mr. Mike.
Yeah, but that was like an episode though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it wasn't even like an arc or anything. So yeah, that was good. That was good.
The spice, the tension. Our friend's dead. Someone actually dies in Boku no Hero.
Here's the thing. They could have built it up. It would have been nice to know if because it only happened for one episode, right? So it's like, oh, by the way, we had an old friend. By the way, it seems that that friend is maybe now the Nomu or something. Like I wish that it wasn't just thrown at us. But at this point, I'm desperate. I'll take anything. Good episode.
Take that piece of
They could have built it up
candy
more.
from the pot. It's like, okay, finally something.
Exactly. I'll take anything at this point. Even if it's only one bite, I'll take it. They could have built it up better, but still good, still intriguing. That's what the show needs. The show needs to with Hawks, with a lot of things. You could really be building up some intrigue here. And this episode did it, but it lasted an episode and maybe it's going to go somewhere, maybe it doesn't. I have no idea. It's Boku no Hero, but I guess a solid episode in there. So, yeah, what'd you think of it? Anything?
Yeah, it was good. Nice and good. It's just it feels so different than everything else. I feel like that could have been like an OVA or something. But but it's an actual episode. Yeah.
It should have been. It was so out of field, dude. They could have. I don't know. Yeah, you're right. It did feel out of place. And so yeah, then we get into the final arc. I guess a lot of controversy was this one. A lot of people, and I would agree, this is probably the high point of the season, but still a lot of controversy surrounding it.
So like 6 episodes.
6, I believe. My Villain Academia, right? Is that the title? So. All right, you read the manga. I want to hear your take before I say anything. What'd you think of these last 6 episodes?
That was pretty good. I don't. Maybe like some slight things were, sped up or slowed down, but it felt like how I remember it. How I remember it going down.
Yeah.
The Sad Man's Parade, wherever it was. Oh, beautiful. This. With Twice,
refresh me.
With Twice, going OP.
Moment.
Twice is the most OP character.
Yeah.
OP character in the series.
I like Twice a lot. I like his character. I think that he's. I think of all the villains, he has such a. He's like his personality is like so in your face. Like even his voice actor. His voice actor, for the Japanese dub. Wish I was watching this shit English dub because man. But anyways, that's another story. I signed myself up for it. I can't complain. The Japanese do a great job, but it'd be nice to not have to read subtitles for the show because it's not the best season anyways. But Twice had a good voice actor. Yeah, I liked his moment. we got some stuff with the girl Toga.
Mm-hmm.
What's her name?
Toga,
yeah. That was kind of cool. Some of it felt sped up, but whatever. The good shit though was Shigaraki. That was the good shit. But when you look at it compared to the manga, and again, this is a losing battle. We've talked about this. You can't always compare shit to the manga, right? But man, the manga for his backstory looks so dark, like the way the panels are drawn and the facial expressions. And then you look at the anime, and it's just like
bright,
very toned down, bright, like just like another normal Boku no Hero episode.
That's the problem. That's what got me a little bit worried for the future because there's a lot of dark pages in the future of Boku no Hero, and that tone of dark foreboding, dark rain and all. It's like, oh, there's some beautiful looking panels, but how is it going to look in the anime? I don't think they got. This is like a Berserk situation where it's like it looks so good, but it's like it's not going to look that good in the anime. It's going to look off.
Yeah. Well, I think that if they wanted to sort of change it up a little bit for Shigaraki's backstory, I feel like that would have fit perfectly, right? Like it's a very dark story. We're into the villain episodes. It probably would have made the episode even better, but instead we got the same coat of paint that we usually get, which is fine. It's fine. It's just a missed opportunity I see. But also, and again, I don't know how much you remember the manga from this point in the series, but a lot of people, just from what I've read, this arc was very switched around. Like there was pieces of it that were told out of order. Again, it don't affect me, but if you're a manga reader, that might have annoyed you, or that might have, if you made it this far into season 5, I don't know how you haven't already been annoyed, but there you go. I don't, that might have been the cherry on top, but certainly the best arc of the season. I think like the Shigaraki episode was great. I think that one-off episode we talked about was great.
The fight was pretty spicy versus the Liberation guy.
Yeah, I think was that the same episode or like the episode after?
think it was the episode
that
after.
whole little whole little part, that whole little climax to the villain saga. Good, solid. You want to talk about the end of it though? The time skip.
Yeah. So now because Endeavor, got the note from Hawks like, in 4 months, they're gonna have a bunch of people. So now we just skipped right to 4 months later, and now we're gonna go right back into it again. So we're about to get some spice after spice.
Why wouldn't you start season 6 off with that? Why would you? I don't
What's
know.
the teaser?
Why
It's
wouldn't you,
a teaser.
Oh, it's the teaser. Okay, I thought that was like actually like where the story's at. Okay, I guess that makes sense. I don't know. Did you like that or?
Well, that's what happened.
Have anything to
That's
say
how
about
it just happened in manga. It's just now we're here now. So now we're just
Yeah.
it's gonna be some spicy stuff, but I'm just worried about how the animation's gonna look because there's gonna be like so many fights next season. I don't know if they're gonna be able to. Their animation budget's gonna be able to handle it. Maybe we'll get some Toku Revengers looking fights.
You said it, not me. Yeah. So that's our. We just gave you guys the breakdown of Boku no Hero
seen the
season
season.
5.
You're good.
Was it a bad season of anime? I don't think it was bad. Was it good? Nah, I don't think it was good. I think it's the weakest that My Hero Academia has to offer, and it kind of worries me going forward because I really hold My Hero on a high pedestal. I think it's a solid show. I don't think it's like one of the greats. I don't think it's like top 5 best show out right now, but it's up there. If you want that good feeling, classic type shonen vibe, My Hero Academia took the world by storm, right?
Mm-hmm. But not anymore.
Am I hyped for season 6 at this point? I don't know, man. We got Demon Slayer, we got Attack on Titan, we got Jujutsu Kaisen, we got Chainsaw Man coming out.
Jobless.
Am I really? We got Jobless, not the typical shonen, but yeah, throw that in there, right? Like with all those other shonen, right? Like, is this? It's hard to compete.
Mhm.
It's kind of losing its flair. It's just dragging at this point a little bit. But like you said, there's going to be a lot of fights next season. For all I know, next season could be good shit. You want to talk about Midoriya's? I mean, again, I'm grasping at straws here, but his newfound black whips that he mastered suddenly. No training arc. He's just like, whatcha, I got this shit mastered.
There's old
now.
training arcs. What are you talking about? He's been training it the whole past like billion episodes.
Gotcha. I was just sleeping. Sorry. Yeah.
No, he was training for so long. You went to sleep.
Exactly. And then because there's so many classmates, they're giving the filler beach episodes here. We got the villains. He's been training the whole time. Here I am, unbeknownst to me, So I guess he has a hold of the black whips now. I wonder what's next. Laser eyes, or maybe he can fly next. Oh no, they did say it was going to be All Might's teacher, right?
Which was flying, or floating.
Was it flying? Yeah, or floating.
It's basically the same thing.
Amazing. 100 episodes in, and we get to see him fly. This great character progression.
How many episodes until Goku started flying? Not Midoriya's better. If you go off that metric.
Are we gonna wait 200 before he becomes the villain, or yeah? So, yeah, I guess that's our review. Any final thoughts, Germs, for the people out there, for the weebs out there? Do you recommend season 5, and what are your final thoughts on Boku no Hero season 5?
Well, now we're getting to the hundreds episodes. Now it's starting to become like, if you want to start watching this, it's like, how many hours?
It's a chore.
Yeah, how many hours is that? It's like
Exactly.
it's like a whole day and a half, or 2 days, whatever. So
This is a commitment.
yeah. So if I was someone, I would just go go to your local bookstore and go pick up the manga, because you're gonna be waiting so long for the story to actually happen.
Yeah. Yep, very true.
And at least when you read the manga, you can rip off that band-aid real quick. You're not gonna just be slowly waiting so long, be like, oh, how much longer till the the next cool thing? Oh, how many more weeks? How many more months? Just go read that.
Yeah.
Just I would recommend just reading the manga and just just get that band-aid ripped off and just see what Boku no Hero is at right now.
Well, that's what you recommend for people that are new to the series. What about people that haven't seen this? Like, let's say someone's seen 1 through 4 and they haven't seen 5 yet. Are you at the point where you like don't even watch this shit?
Just read the manga.
Go to the manga.
Just go to the manga.
Transition at this point. Stay away.
Yeah, it's a slow batch of episodes. You're not gonna be, if you're even if you're new at reading manga, you're gonna be up to speed by the time that part's over. But
yeah.
It's just so much time. It's like 20 minutes, of every week was just like I could have been doing something, I could have watched a better show. But
that's how I felt. I still haven't given up complete hope. I'm an anime only. I don't think I'm going to transition to the manga, but I can't. Yeah, like I said, I don't know how hyped I am for season 6. I'm just not as hyped. Got to keep it real with you guys, gals, and weebs out there. Comment down below. What did you think of this season of My Hero Academia? We're already on the 5th season. Look at that. And then we got a movie right around the corner.
Oh yeah.
I don't see many people hyped for that. I mean, it seems like the hype train is slowly it's losing steam here. Maybe it'll pick back up. Hopefully it does. I never prey on a show's downfall. But that's how I feel about this season. Certainly a little bit of a downfall here. Give us a like if you enjoyed this content. Give us a sub if you guys enjoy our usual content. It really goes a long way. And yeah, I'll start with you, Germs. What did you think of Tokyo Revenger's first season?
Yeah, I liked it. Like each arc really had like a nice little like mystery and like how are we gonna do this? And like the nice aspect of like he can go back in time, but he can only do it once. He doesn't get no do overs if he fucks up in the past. So it's a nice
audio's fucking up a lot. Where you at? You on it?
Like
that time it was bad. That time I had to cut you off because that time it was bad. Actually, I didn't say spoiler or not spoiler. Let me just say that real quick, all right? You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so for the first half of this video, we're going to just give you guys a spoiler-free review. So we're not going to get into spoilers. We will warn you right before we get into spoilers. So in case you have not seen the season yet, if you're watching us, check it out to see if you might want to check out the show or not. We will warn you guys ahead of time. But for right now, we're not going to do any spoilers. We're just going to give you our general impressions on the show after seeing the first 24 episodes. So yeah, what did you think of this first season, Germs?
Yeah, I think it was a pretty nice one. Each arc had its own little mystery initially. The hook was nice and good. It was a nice little hook of like, when an arc was over, when one's about to start, and it did a pretty good job. The animation wasn't top tier, but I think the story and like the intrigue really and characters really bring up the show to me.
Before we get any deeper, let's talk about what the show is for people checking out this and maybe they haven't seen it yet. So this is sort of like a thriller.
Gang.
Yeah, we got gang. It's action. There's some action in here. A little bit of romance too. But basically think, for all the anime fans out there, think Erased, but longer scale Erased and hopefully not a bad ending, right? So we have
a little bit more darker, a little
bit darker. Yeah. So we have an MC. He travels back in the past 12 years. Was it 12 years?
Yeah, that's exactly. That's his
12
ability.
Years. What's interesting though is that as time continues to move forward, he can still only travel back 12 years. So don't think that he can keep getting a bunch of redos because he can't. So he can alter the previous timeline, but he kind of only gets one shot to do that, right? Because as the current timeline moves, so does the previous, right? So he's trying to rewrite history because he finds out that his ex-girlfriend from middle school has died she's been killed from gang violence from people that he recognizes from his previous school. He gets hit by a train kun. He gets pushed into the train kun, dies, and here we are. He's going back in the past to sort of, fix things up. So if you like time travel, you got to check this one out, right? You got to check this one out. If you don't like time travel, there's still a bunch of other fun, interesting stuff here to keep you hooked. Would you agree?
Mm-hmm. the intrigue of the characters. Some people, in one timeline, when you're in the future, it's like, oh, what happened to them in these past 12 years? Because every time he goes back and forth, it's like a new person he's seeing. It's like, oh, what happened in these 12 years after where I left him at, And then he's like, oh, something really bad happened to him. I got to make sure this doesn't happen. Goes back and he's like, tries to help him out. So it's a really interesting idea. It's not like he can't. It's not like ReZero where it's like going back to the exact same day. Getting that perfect run. This is just he's got the one chance to make things right again. And if he fucks up, he fucks up.
Yeah, one thing that I can say about ReZero, it gets a little stale and a little bit cheap when the MC dies, and it's okay. That death actually doesn't mean anything because he's just going to go back and. After being killed 20 more times, he'll eventually figure it out. That's not this series. This series is sort of creating an alternate timeline. So when he does fuck up in the past, it still stays fucked up. But again, he does have an overarching goal to prevent the death of his girlfriend or ex-girlfriend, right? So yeah, that's the premise of the show. There's a very story focused show, so you're going to get a lot of twists and turns, lots of fun stuff with this one. Yeah, so let's just break it down. So we got the story. I think the story was pretty solid throughout. I think it kind of drags there in the second half a little bit for me, but it picks right back up. Right? It's one of those plots where it's like up and down a little bit, and when it's up, it's up. When it's down, it's okay, but when this show is at its best, when the storytelling is at its best, right? That's how I feel. Would you agree?
Yeah. The animation isn't super crazy, and there's nothing else that's like super crazy about it. But just the characters and the story is just what keeps you going back. What a good story should be.
Yeah. So that is the main appeal of this anime. If you want a good story, that's what this is. This is a very plot heavy show. I've had, listen, the animation ain't bad by any stretch, but I don't think it's impressive at all. I would say it's average or maybe even subpar at times. If that pulls you out of the story, like it does me occasionally, you might find that annoying. Other people don't care. Other people are perfectly fine with it. It just depends on how you view it. But it's not so much the animation, it's really the character designs. I don't like the character designs. Sometimes I look at a character design and I think, wow, I could have drew that. Not here to bag on the animators. I understand that they have terrible conditions over in Japan. I know all about that industry, but just as a piece of art, to critique it as a piece of art, critique it as a piece of art, the designs are not the best at times. And that might bother you, might not bother you. Bothers some people. It doesn't bother Germs as much. Bothers me a little bit more. I think the music, the OST is phenomenal in this show. Would you agree?
No, I didn't notice it too much, but yeah.
I think it's great. I think the OPs and EDs were great. I think that ominous music that happens whenever Takemichi sort of learns something that he doesn't want to learn, or like he was supposed to prevent something that doesn't get prevented. I love that music. I think. What's funny is I actually think the music is the OST for the show is probably above average. So where the animation may lack a little bit, I think the music was phenomenal for the show. Like I said, the OPs, the EDs, the whole thing was great. And yeah, and the characters, I mean, lovable characters, a little bit too much characters though. At times it's like, okay, who's that guy's name? Because they throw a lot of names around. It's like, who is that? What's their relation? You get used to it, but there is a lot of different groups here, right? You have Takemichi, you have his OG friends, you have Toman, you have Valhalla, you're just going to meet a lot of different people throughout the show. So if you want a show to like passively watch, this might not be for you.
Yeah.
Nah, you have to really be in the story, really following the timeline, really following, okay, where are we at? Are we in the past? Are we in the present? What's different from before?
Last time?
Yeah, who is this? What happened with them? There's a lot of different side plots going on. So, yeah, I like the batch of characters that they've given us. I just feel like they've thrown a lot at us pretty quickly for 24 episodes. That's how I feel. Germs might disagree, but there's a lot to keep track of here, and certainly a lot of characters to keep track of here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the suspense of when these kind of moments happen where it's like, oh, something's went slightly off than what we expected, and that kind of stuff is like, or something like crazy happens, like, whoa, this didn't happen, last time, and seeing what led to that change and all that kind of stuff is like, now you're thinking, you're like, oh, let me think back to like, what happened last episode, how's that kind of connect. So I think it's a more big brain kind of series. You can't just be like listen to the dub and just like sleeping.
Yeah, nothing like genius. Nothing. We're not talking like some experimental Evangelion stuff here. You just got to pay attention. There's just a lot of moving parts to the show. It's not just something that you kind of put on and it's like, oh, okay, here's where we're at. No, a lot of things are changing. Even the gangs are changing. The relationships between people change. Just make sure that you're keeping up to date with it. All right, so that's going to be it for a spoiler-free section of the review. Before we end the spoiler-free section, let's say if we recommend it or not. What are your overall thoughts? Do you recommend this? Do you think that this is a hot new show of 2021? What's the type of person you think this anime is for? How much did you enjoy it? Give the people what they really want to hear, Germs.
Yeah, I think I would definitely recommend it. Not to everyone, this is definitely not like oh yeah, you gotta watch. This is like, oh, you want something a little bit more mysterious, a little bit of time travel maybe. It's like, okay, this is a good recommendation. I don't think this is like a thing I'd be like, oh, you gotta watch Revengers. You gotta it's so fire. It's good. It's pretty nice. It's just it's a little bit more of a quiet kind of show. You can't just there's no big titties everywhere. There's no he's not falling into boobs everywhere. There's not one of those kind of shows.
What do you give it out of 5?
I think I'm gonna. This is a tough one, but I think
remember no halves.
Yeah,
no halves. Yeah.
I think I'm gonna give it a 3. I wish I could give it. I wish I could give it a little bit more. I wish I could give it a 4, but. I'm interested in it, but I'm not like super excited to see. I'm like, okay, I'm interested to see what happens next. But like, if it stops, it's like, okay, I guess that's how the stories end here right now. But there's some really nice touching moments in there. But it's a 3. If there was like some really crazy animation or like there was a little bit more just a little bit more spicy moments in terms of like
a little bit more spice, right?
Yeah, just like there's some really good moments, like episodes where like it's like, oh, this was like a top tier episode. And then maybe an episode or two, be like, okay, it's a little bit more slow,
Yeah.
So if there was a little bit more of the highs here, then it'd be a 4, and then if it was a masterpiece, it'd be a 5. But it's not, unfortunately. So it's a 3. Maybe in the future with these next few arcs, maybe there's some really nice story. The ending was really nice, so maybe there's some potential here still. It's not it's not going off a cliff right now. It's still up there. So I think next season maybe I can give it a 4. If they keep with a nice spicy story, but currently right now it's a solid 3.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Once again, I'm actually surprised that I thought you liked the show a little bit more than me, but it seems that we kind of have the same opinion. I'm going to give it a 3. You're right. I mean, I don't disagree with anything you said. There's some like I said, how I said it's kind of like a roller coaster, and when it's on, it's like really on, and when it's not, it's like okay. Some of the spiciest episodes in the season are like phenomenal, right? Like really good. But then you go another 3 or 4 and they're okay, right? So the episodes where a lot of plot happens and like you get big cliffhangers and like maybe he goes back to the future and it's like, whoa, like a totally, like it's crazy moments. Those are phenomenal episodes, 10 out of 10 type of stuff. But for most of the season, that's not what's happening. Now you get those, and those are big plot points. But I wish it's like close to a 4, right? But I can't give it a 4. I'm going to give it a 3. Not enough spice for me. I think we'll talk about this in the spoiler section, but I didn't like the second half as much as the first half for some reasons I'll get into. But like you said, I'm not. If it ended, I would probably be okay with it, right? Like whatever. But I do see potential, right? I do see potential. Like if we didn't get a season 2, would I go read the manga? I don't know. maybe, maybe not. But like you said, I see potential, and I'm surprised. I thought you were gonna like the show a lot more than me, but here we go again. We always agree. We always agree. All right, so that's gonna be it for our spoiler-free section. Now we're gonna get into some spoilers. And holy shit, that last episode! Holy shit!
Oh
What'd you
my.
think? What'd you think of that last?
That was absolutely wild. I
That
kind of
was
suspected.
that was a 10 out of 10 episode. That was a high. That was a high. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, because that guy is he's scum. There's no way he's not going to be evil in the future. There's no way he's going to be a nice good boy. So when you give him the glass, I'm like, oh, there's something. He's probably gonna
Oh, you knew then? You knew
No,
then?
I'm like, oh, it seems weird. Why is he giving him something to drink? And it's like, and then once he woke up, oh my god, that was insane. Oof.
What his Kisaki, right? Is the big bad guy's name? Okay, so he seems like the big bad guy for the show, right? Like the ultimate.
Yeah, he's scheming in the background. He's making the calls to do all the got Baji killed.
Yeah, he I see potential with that. Like I really want to see where that goes. But again,
an intelligent villain.
Yes, I really like him as a villain. But I got to be honest, man. I did not fuck with the Valhalla arc there. I just I don't know what it was, but I was just pulled out of the experience. Like the first arc of the show was great, but then you get into the Valhalla stuff and I don't know, like Baji gets thrown in there. Like there's just an influx of characters, right? Because you have more internal Tomon stuff, and then you have the Valhalla, and then it culminates into them fighting in a dirt lot with 1,000 tires stacked on top of each other, and these middle schoolers are doing flips and shit, almost about to kill each other. I'm just okay, and no one's called the cops, and we got hundreds of people here. It's just where is this happening in Tokyo? Tokyo's a city.
Japan be wild, man.
If this was more rural Tokyo, or rural Japan, that would make sense. But where is this happening in Tokyo? What? I know it's anime. I know it's fucking a cartoon, but still, it's just it pulls you out of the experience. It just does. And it went on for so long, and the fight and the animation was not good. And like I said, man, the character designs, sometimes Takemichi would look fat. That arc just pulled me out of it. But again, when it's on fire, right? That arc ends.
Oof.
We get a flash. We get to see everything when that fight ended. Cool. We're back on track because Takemichi officially becomes part of the group, right? He gets picked out to be a captain. He goes to the future. That crazy last episode we had. Cool, we're back on track. But man, it really felt like a chore there, that big final showdown. And the previous showdowns I thought were okay. Remember when they fought in the rain and stuff like that? That was cool. But I don't know why. But the final big battle of the season just did not do it for me. What'd you think of it?
Yeah, I think when it wasn't, I think really Baji was the main character of that arc, in the kind of way.
Did you like Baji?
Yeah, I like Baji.
Okay, see, I didn't really find him super interesting, to be honest with you, but you liked him.
Yeah, so I think that's why I think the arc is a little bit better probably than you did.
Go ahead.
Because when Dragon the other guy was fighting, it's I don't care. I don't want to see this fight. I want to see just Baji and get right to the good stuff.
Yeah, Baji and Keisuke was his name, or whatever the name was. I'll tell you what I hated. I'll tell you what I fucking hated, dude. Okay. Takemichi's supposed to not have them merge, right? That's the whole goal. And eventually they do merge, right? I don't have a problem with that. Consistently, this show has him going back in the past to fix things. And even though he tries, they still, fate has its way of his efforts were meaningless, right? That's fine. That, you can't have conflict. You can't have a story without conflict. What I hate is that the one that dies, was that Baji?
Baji, yeah.
Baji dies, right? So, and then who was the kid? Was it Keisuke, I'm so bad with the names, dude.
The
Um,
villain, big villain.
Whatever. No, it wasn't. Not the big villain we previously talked about, but the other villain, right? Dude. Actually, what? No, it wasn't Kisaki, was it?
Well, he's been the big
Anyways,
main villain.
yeah, but who killed Baji exactly?
Well, technically himself, but yeah, I
Okay,
know.
okay, whatever. We'll go with that. We'll go with that. He kills himself, and then they're just like, "Yeah, we'll merge." What? What was the point of his death? What was the
Well,
point of his death?
well, it's for Mikey to forgive the other guy, the one that killed his brother.
And he had to stab himself for it and kill himself?
Well, he was already gonna die. You know, you want to go out on his terms. You know.
I don't know, man. It just felt like such a big fucking waste of time because they still merge. This new character that we learned about dies, and everyone just forgives each other. Like I don't know. It didn't end right. It didn't sit well with me. But again, after that,
we haven't really seen the full merging yet. You know, maybe there's still maybe there's
True.
some friction between the two because you know we jumped straight to that end episode there, so we don't know how they're meshing yet.
I don't mind that they merge. Again, like I said, like it's fine that the story has conflict, but maybe if we had like 5 episodes where like there are negotiations and like, there's some there's some conflict there, right? Like maybe they don't trust each other, but it's just like next episode, yeah, we're merging. It's just like it felt cheap. It felt like the whole arc that I just watched was like, for nothing. You know what I mean? But that's just me. That's just me. I really thought the first half of the show was really good though. That's props where props were due. And I think probably one of my favorite episodes was like the end of that first arc with the death of Hina when her car got on fire.
Mm-hmm.
So good, dude. That was a real big fucking high point for me,
Well, thinking about it, I think the main reason it probably was a smooth transition is because Kasaki was basically the head of Valhalla anyway. So, Kasaki, is already kind of head of Valhalla. It's like, okay, just, have his boys, join Tomon.
Yeah.
That's how I kind of see it.
No, logically, I don't have a problem with it, but they just fought to the death. These middle schoolers just fought to the death. They were doing backflips off of stacked tires. And then the next episode, they're just like, yeah, we're going to merge. Again, it didn't sit well with me. That's just me.
Right.
That's just me. Yeah, anything spoilery that you want to talk about specifically? Because I got what I wanted to say off my chest. I got
Hina best girl. Easy peasy.
Easy. Best character of the show, to be honest. Well, Takemichi's Takemichi, but I really like Hina. I think Hina, they should have more Hina, honestly. I get that she's his girlfriend and shit, but why can't we see them on dates and stuff? You know what I mean? She's just kind of there. She's just like, oh, okay, I'll see you at class or something. Do they even go to school? I don't even know. But you get what I mean. She's just kind of shows up randomly. I wish that they develop their relationship more because I think that's really one of the show's strengths. I really do.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the main spoiler and the problem that everyone probably has is we brought it up a billion times already, but we kind of just glossed over it. But middle school.
Yeah.
What Japan be doing in middle school, man? What they be doing? They got gangs, they got kids blowing on motorcycles, going to jail, killing people. We haven't seen drugs and all that stuff, but I imagine that's probably there too. It's
yeah, and I guess that
this should have been a set high school. Oh no, there's also gang rape and all that stuff. It's wait, this is middle school. What are you talking? This is middle school.
Where was gang rape? I missed that.
Remember Pa? Remember that's why because his girlfriend got raped and his family was killed.
Yeah,
that was kind of the big tonal shift.
Yeah, it was just kind of said though. We didn't really see any of that, but yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah,
but yeah, 12-year-olds can just ride bikes on the street and not get caught. Okay, interesting. I didn't know. This is
the one anime thing. It's okay, this is anime, but middle school, you could have just said high school, and this would have made more. This would have made just as much sense.
They just pull up to a light and they're just chilling. Yeah, no one's gonna call the cops on us or shit. We're just fine, No one bats an eye to that. No one even looks, cares.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's my
interesting.
only problem. You know, I wish they would have said it in like they would have said middle school. They like then it's like okay, some of this makes sense, but in middle school, this is insane.
I think there's also like I bet people also complain about Takemichi, like the power thing, like him and like he and his brother. Like, how is it that they touch and he just magically goes back in time? How is any of that explained? I'm sure it might get explained in the future. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just like maybe the author's just like
Supernatural, whatever.
accept it. Like Erased, it wasn't really at least in the anime, it wasn't really explained. Like he just fucking goes back in time. So
Gotta accept it. Yeah.
I get that people won't like that. I could sit here and nitpick that, but it's the premise
I just want to
show.
bring that up. Yeah.
Yeah. Like like people might nitpick that, like the setting of the show. I bet people might nitpick the premise. You know, like how does the power work? I'm sure, like there's a lot. Like if you really want to dissect the show, I'm sure you can find a lot wrong.
That's every show,
again,
really.
That's every show, really, and you just have to understand what you're getting into here. You know what I mean? This is not going to be a masterpiece. This is not going to be like the most well thought out, like most meticulous show out there. It's a mixture of a good plot with a lot of ridiculous stuff, but you know, it is what it is. You know, it's Revengers. I thought that you would have liked it a lot more than me, but it seems like we're like both, you know, 3. You know, maybe a 4 has potential.
Yeah, I like. Yeah, I think next season we can have a 4th season because now we have all the setup and everything. Now we can just go straight into spice. You know, spice after spice.
Yeah, please. I just like when it's on, it's so on, dude. Like the episodes that are good are really good. Like if most of the season was like that, easy 4. You know what I mean? Easy 4. But you know, I just like the Valhalla arc kind of killed it for me. But yeah. Before we end our review, anything in particular you want to bring up?
No, I got everything off my chest too. I just want to bring up the middle schoolers.
Yeah, we basically had like a spoiler-free section, and then like for spoilers, we're just like, all right, we have to talk about this part, you know? So guys and gals out there, the weebs, have you seen Tokyo Revengers? If you made it to this part in the video, we assume you have, or you just don't give a shit and you're just like, yeah, I'll listen to these guys talk. Comment down below, what did you make of this season? Did you like it as much as we did? Did you like it a little bit more? Did you like it a little bit less? People are kind of, you know, I feel like there's a lot of people that like it and a lot of people that hate it. So yeah, let us know down in the comments below. If you like this content, check out the channel. We have a weekly podcast. And yeah, Tokyo Revengers. We will see you guys for the fall season. And yeah, any final thoughts for Tokyo Revengers, Germs?
Bring you know, we need 200% more Hina next season. That's my
Yes. That's the takeaway. More Hina. We demand more Hina. All right, so we hope you weebs out there enjoyed those reviews. We recorded those, I think, like a week ago or so. So those are our thoughts on Boku no Hero, the 5th season, and Tokyo Revengers. Next week, expect a review of Kobayashi. And so, yeah, that'll probably be the reviews for the summer season. I think, you know, we probably won't touch on the other 3, but at least the reviews that we think would be good and that we have something to really say about, you know, so those are the reviews this week. We have one next week. And that pretty much concludes our episode. We don't have any news to talk about this week. We do have some weekly thoughts, though. You want to get started on some weekly thoughts here, Germs?
Yeah, just some weekly thoughts. So, you know, it's been usual just playing so many TCGs. There's so many Digimon, Pokemon, Magic, Force of Will. The list goes on and on. There's so many good card games out there. And I've been playing them with the boys. Been playing, you know, some games with you. So just been really happy with this. It's just so nice getting into TCGs and seeing there's such a wide selection for anyone to really get into. I've been really enjoying, you know, a little bit there, a little bit there. James has seen my collection of TCGs I have now.
It's massive. We'll do like a fucking episode on it. But yeah, I warned him, everyone. I warned him once you get into, because I knew he would like TCGs. I knew it. I said, get into Magic. You're missing out. You already play D&D. Like, you will like Magic. He gets into Magic, and then from there, we're off. We're gone. The ship has set sail. He's already halfway around the world now. He's too madman. He's already halfway around the world at this point.
I've already lapped you.
You've already a couple times. So yeah, we've gotten into TCGs that most people don't know about. You've dabbled into Force of Will. You've dabbled into all sorts of stuff.
Pokemon.
All sorts of
No
stuff.
one
But
plays
but that's
Pokemon,
mainstream.
man. Yeah, but no one plays it, man. It's so sad to see. So sad to see. But
you know what?
if
I gotta say, I'm proud of you though. I'm really proud of you because you haven't started playing Yu-Gi-Oh yet, and I was afraid that you might dabble into that. You've kept your sanity and you have not dabbled into that trash game. But I love the anime, but I'm saying the game is pretty jank. But yeah, and you're still dabbling into new stuff. You still have like Vanguard to go over. You still have that Canadian game that you bought. I mean, just all sorts of stuff that you still have yet to discover. And I think when people first get into TCGs, they don't expect it to be that much. You know, you expect Magic, you expect Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh,
Pokemon.
But then you get into this, then you venture off and you're like, oh wow, there's lots of variations here. You know what I mean?
Anime ones, you know.
Yeah,
anime on alone is
that's
a
its
whole
own
world.
subcategory. And a lot of them are somewhat similar, but you know, it's just little variations that make the card games different, you know? So
Yeah,
Yep.
so I've been having a lot of fun with that. And if you were interested into dabbling a little bit, you know, your boys always here. Type the comments down below, and there's something for everyone here. Cheap, expensive, collectible, you know, there's tons of different routes to go. So your boys always here. But also wanted to talk about this week was SAO Progressive is coming soon to theaters for us.
Oh yeah, let's talk about that. When does it come out? December?
It comes out December 3rd for us in America here,
Okay.
and then it comes at the end of the month on the 30th for Japan. But this is a really fast a month, basically like a month and like a week between the releases in Japan and America. And I think it's the fastest I might have ever seen.
Wait, when does it come out in Japan? The end of October or the end of November?
October.
October. Okay, so yeah, like a month. That's pretty good though. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Because usually it's like 6 months or whatever, like Demon Slayer and everything.
Yeah.
But I think the timing, especially because I think it's probably because COVID and everything. It's so much the online aspect and all that stuff. They're really hopping on that streaming and stuff. But
yeah. So what you guys can expect from us is we're gonna go see it in the theaters as good weebs, as supportive weebs of the industry that we are, because we would never pirate, you know, we would never do any of that stuff. So we're gonna go check it out in the theaters and expect a review. I mean, that'll be in like December, so we have a little ways away for that. But yeah, also like the Kaizen movie. I don't know when that's gonna hit theaters, but if that does hit theaters in the US, expect us to go see it and expect a review of it, you know? So any big anime movies like that, you know, you can always expect us to come through. The only one we've done so far is Demon Slayer, you know, and that wasn't even a choice. That was mandatory. When that came out to theaters, we had to go see that. We had to review it. So for all of the SAO fans out there, if you're interested in this movie, if you're still interested in the series after everything that you've put up with so far,
that's me.
That's it. That's Germs. That's Germs in a nutshell. So if you're still interested, we will be reviewing the movie after we go see it, and we will be seeing it as soon as possible out here. We'll be buying tickets and checking it out. So yeah, I'm interested. I don't know if I can't say I'm hyped, but hopefully it's a movie series, right? Like we've talked about this before.
Yeah,
hopefully
it has to be.
It has to be, right? So hopefully we get some good stuff here. And the essay, like the first arc of SAO is always like considered the best. So they can give it to us slower paced, build up the
really
characters
going deep
a little bit
into
more. Yeah, go deeper. Don't just rush it like they did in the first season. We can get some good content out of it. So yeah. What were you gonna say?
I just checked, and the Kaizen movie comes out on Christmas Day in Japan. So
maybe
sometime next year.
Yeah, expect it sometime next year. That'll be cool. Cool. So yeah, but December we have SAO for you guys when we check it out. And anything
some extra
else?
little specials.
Yeah, some extra specials. Stay tuned for those. We're gonna be putting a lot of work into those. Those are gonna be a lot of work, but I think you guys will like it. So anything else, Germs? Anything else for the weebs out there?
Oh, nothing much. I'm finally finishing up this last season, so I can finally start watching all this new good juicy stuff in the new season. So I'm real excited to see all that.
I would talk about my progress on the last season, but I don't want to get depressed here. And another thing that we should mention, I am trying to get you into poker, some different type of card games. So I've at least planted the seed. So yeah, now it just needs to sprout, and hopefully you can become a degenerate like me and really get into that too. So. All right, so that's going to be our weekly news. If you enjoyed this week's content, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe if you're new here. We'd really appreciate that. If you're listening on iTunes or Spotify, give us a follow on there as well. So yeah, that's going to be it for this week's episode. Next week, expect a review of Kobayashi and all, as always, the weekly roundup. And yeah, that's going to be it. So Weeb's out. We will see you guys next week. Peace.
Peace.